the Beautiful Dead.
And Tony from Back Movies.
And we are here with...
I'm Ed Crimmy. I'm the owner and curator of the VAMPA Museum in Doylestown, Pennsylvania.
That's right, we are at a vampire museum. I cannot tell you how excited I am right now. Tell them, what is this room?
Well, this room is considered the first room, and this is where we have a lot of the artifacts. We call it the art of the kill, to show the beautiful items that were made for the testimony to the belief in the VAMPA Museum in the 16th and 19th century.
Incredible. So we're going to take a little tour here. We don't want to record the whole thing because I want you guys to come check it out for yourself, but we'll give you kind of the highlights, the best parts of all of this. Tony, you have seen this before, but not in the new location.
Yes, you moved it here. It looks bigger and better than ever.
You're going to be surprised. Now there's 8 rooms to go to.
Oh my God, that's so many more rooms.
Excited, so excited. So we were just having an interesting conversation. You were just at the Vatican.
Yes.
Vatican. For an exorcist?
For an exorcist conference last year, I was really honored to be invited. I was with 350 exorcists. It was an amazing experience. My grandfather's brother and uncle were exorcists in Catania, Italy, and they were priests. So I was invited for one of the reasons, and I also wrote some papers, and it was wild, incredible.
Incredible. That's amazing. So we're going to take a little look around and we'll give you guys the best parts of the museum, but I want you to come out to Doylestown and check it out for yourself. And we're going to have links to everything in the video description so you know how to find them, when they're open, all of the prices, and you'll be seeing the merch that we get at the end.
Great.
All right. So this is like a vampire hunting kit?
This is a vampire hunting trunk. When they were made this big, they were usually in pubs or restaurants.
I was going to say, this doesn't seem like it would be easy to transport from hunt to hunt.
No.
So you would go to your local pub to find the vampire killing supplies.
Yeah, and feel secure to eat there or sleep over when they were this big.
Wow. Wow.
I would sleep safe at night knowing that there was a murder trunk here for vampires.
So whenever you come across a vampire, you're like, you, go to the pub and get the supplies. I'll stay here.
Something like that. Well, it's a testimony to the belief.
True. True. Well, the convenient thing is while you're gearing up for the hunt, you can also have a couple shots.
Exactly.
Just to be nice and courageous when you go out for the vampires. Wow. I can't even imagine what this weighs.
It probably was about 400 pounds. And it's beautiful because it has, a figure of Archangel Michael there.
Wow.
All hand-carved ivory there. You would have salt, garlic, and holy water.
Of course.
Is that a Bible there?
You would have a Bible, yes, to build up the edification of the vampire hunter.
Right. Again, not super portable. It's a very big Bible. So like one hand just has the Bible, which I feel like is a bad idea. So there's a special chair for exorcisms.
Not necessarily. This is actually one that was probably made for a long exorcism. Most of the exorcisms in the 1600s, they usually took anywhere between, let's say, 3 days to maybe a week. Now they take 6 months to a couple of years.
Do you see the straps on the arch? Straps and shackles.
And that's unusual. And we have another exorcism chair here, which
Wow.
is very intense.
I think if I were being exorcised, I'd prefer to lay down.
If it's going to take that long,
yeah.
might as well be comfortable.
Correct.
Well, usually they go in and out.
Oh yeah, the door. What was the story behind the door?
So the door came from a farm
Yeah.
out in Montpellier in France. And this was inside the farm, and they would be protecting the village. Remember, you're going through a time, and I try to remind people of this, that there's no electric.
Right.
There's no television. There's no TV and videos and cameras. It's a different world.
Speaking of flashbacks, this was my favorite thing last time.
Yes. The Vincent Price, yes.
Scary rocking chair.
Wow.
All hand-carved wood. Really fabulous quality.
Wow.
I mean, the museum has a lot of things that you haven't seen the last time, Tony.
I know.
Look at this vampire killing shield. So you can protect yourself from a bite, but also just get with that.
And you would hold it up so the crucifix would keep the vampires away.
Obviously, yes. Oh, wow.
These are really amazing museum pieces right here. Which represents, it's a Stoicism type of philosophy, represents realize that we're going to die someday and to live your life.
Unless you become a vampire.
Unless you
And you
become
get
a
to live
vampire.
forever.
Until they hunt you down and kill you.
Well, get caught. There's Baphomet.
And that's actually a cup, so people would drink out of it when
Wow.
you turn it upside down. Yeah.
Wow.
What is the deal with all the nails here?
This, is we call this, La Casa del Diablo.
Okay.
It's the home of the devil.
Oh!
And all these skeleton figures praying. I actually find this piece very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of paranormal activity too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Thank God it's behind glass.
So many steaks.
This naked lady making
Holy
the skull
cow.
face statue.
Look at the Ouija boards.
These are all antique talking boards. Prior to Ouija, they were called talking with spirit boards, because Ouija is a trademark. And everything you see, that's the white, that's all Carrara marble from Italy,
Wow.
France.
Yes, this is the Aleister Crowley.
Right, you remember,
I
right?
remember that one.
Aleister Crowley. See, now if this were a horror movie, someone would steal one as a joke, and then be cursed. What have we learned, ladies and gentlemen?
Don't steal things.
Don't read the Latin out loud. Don't steal from an antique place. Yeah. Look at the tarot cards. Wow.
Get a close up of those.
I did, don't worry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Did you see tarot?
Yeah, it was terrible.
You know that movie?
Yeah, it was bad.
I just saw the preview and I was like, not watching that.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it was bad.
Oh,
You're not missing much.
look how cool this is. Do you see that? Is that Joan of Arc?
Yeah, we just put that there today. We're moving things around. Actually, we had a piece that we moved. We're doing a new section. What we're doing is called a vampire safe room. And that's what that new section that you saw outside.
Yes!
No steaks, no holy water, no garlic, no
I
crucifixes.
love it.
And we're going to introduce the most incredible coffin you've ever seen.
Oh my God.
All right.
The next room, we have a lot of our esoteric items from Africa, Cambodia. These are old fetish items. We have one of the largest fetish carved wood statues probably in the world at this point. A lot of paranormal activity in this room.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we have the dolls.
Again, this is where in the horror movie, some dumbass like pokes the doll.
Would play with the doll.
Yeah.
We actually have a resident spirit that came with the property, too.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you know the story or just activity?
Well, learning about the story. Her name is Abigail. We
Oh.
realized that because 3 paranormal investigators actually mentioned her name. We
Oh.
didn't name her until about 6 weeks ago.
Nice.
And she loves milk. And this used to be a dairy farm.
Oh, how interesting.
I was
So do
gonna
you
say,
ever,
what? Sorry.
Go.
I was gonna say, what was this? Because I've been here many times, but I was never in this like house. What was this before you moved VAMPA in here?
So it was a home. So
Oh, okay.
It was a residence. This whole thing was a residence before the museum.
Oh, okay.
None of this was here.
Oh,
So
okay.
my children grew up here.
Oh, okay, okay.
Wow.
Nice.
And then once the kids were gone, you're like, I know what I'm gonna do.
Vampire museum. And here is our feast that resists on this. Tony, I did not see this.
Look at this
Oh, I'm excited
doorway.
for this.
This is incredible.
And this is actually the largest vampire carriage in the world. And probably the only one.
Oh my. Wow.
It's gigantic.
And this came from a family, and they would go town to town and be hired out to hunt and protect the village and to search for vampires.
What a gig.
And this was in Santorini and all around Europe. It's probably the only one in the world. It was in a family, a very, very wealthy family, one of the most wealthy families in the world. I cannot mention the name though, that's the deal.
That's okay. I like it better when we gossip.
Makeup stuff.
So with that, my friend Mark came on. He actually told me the right way to pronounce this, and I'm probably going to butcher it. Frikolikos.
I think you said it perfectly.
Thank you. Who says you can't teach me?
We have a lot of the timepieces, because the timepieces, not only did they tell time, they represent the change that you can turn your life around. That's the Stoic concept of that. Whatever adversity you have, just switch it around to something positive.
Wow.
And then my favorite room is next.
Oh.
And this is room the Archangel Michael. And this is all sculpture, paintings depicting the Archangel Michael sending Lucifer to hell.
So that explains the t-shirt.
There's one t-shirt that,
I was
there
like,
is one.
that's the Archangel Michael. That's interesting. This is why.
I'm not used to seeing the devil with tentacle legs.
Oh.
That's some of the information regarding the exorcism conference.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is an expansion from Lambertville, right?
Yeah. I remember a few of the Archangel statues, but this is like, there wasn't a whole room, I think. I like that he's just thinking. When I die, please get a stained glass window of me just like
Done.
this.
You got it.
Well, actually, maybe use this one to just change the face. Actually, if you grew your beard, you know,
If I
when I'm looking at it, it actually looks like you. Just gotta grow the beard, change the nose a little,
Alright, I'm just gonna buy this.
Amazing.
Leave it in my house.
and then maybe we can put you in the carriage, and then we have a white horse.
Be around the carriage.
How did this all get started?
I've been collecting my whole life. My grandfather's brother and uncle were exorcists in Catania, Italy.
Uh-huh.
So family stories, and I started to collect when I was in my 20s. I lived in Europe and just started to collect and collect and collect.
So that explains the religious aspect and the exorcism aspect, the demonic aspect, but why vampires? How did that happen?
I've always been fascinated. To me, it's prior to Bram Stoker, so I believe that vampires are more of a demonic situation, that type of situation, as opposed to the
Got it.
fictional story of
So it felt natural to you to include the vampires?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And I have to ask you this, because I ask everybody this. Why do you think that vampires have been so appealing for so long?
Immortality.
Yeah.
Immortality.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say when we were talking about the hourglasses was, I think what's so appealing, why people are drawn to vampires, is because it's the idea that time just doesn't matter anymore.
Doesn't matter. And it's suffering also. They do suffer.
Well, and no disease.
No disease.
You know, and a lot of them are very wealthy because they have wealth. And so if you think about no disease, no poverty, time doesn't matter, the freedom that comes along with that idea.
Yeah, it's a fascinating subject.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a belief subject that people believed all around the world.
Yeah, since the dawn of time. And this is the thing we keep talking about, is that the vampires have been around since men were telling stories to each other. And so where did that first idea come from? The idea of this thing is going to come after me, it wants my blood, it wants my life force. You know, if we look at like the succubi and the incubi, like it's going to tempt me into it. So you're right, it does go back to that whole idea of demons, temptation, evil.
Lilith.
They just put Lilith.
Lilith was considered the
That's
first
my
one.
girl. Lilith, that's
Well,
my
you're going to
girl.
love what we're doing because we're doing the whole dedication to Lilith. You can't see it until it's done.
Okay,
You can't see the
alright.
room when it's done.
Promise you'll let me know when it's ready, and I'll come back
it's
out.
going to be really
I want to
cool.
see the vampire safe room. I want to see the Lilith room. I love Lilith. That is very cool.
The vampire safe room and the Lilith room is together. That's what we're doing right
I
now.
love
It'll
it.
be open in a couple of weeks, and we're actually going to have a tour. Madam X is going to be here November 16th. I think we already sold all the
Amazing.
tickets
That's
out there.
okay. I will definitely come back out. We'll set up a time. We'll come out. It was only like a 4-hour drive. It wasn't bad at all. And we come out to Philly pretty often anyway. So, and then I have to ask you this because I ask everybody. So, vampire tropes you love, vampire tropes you hate.
Like when you say tropes, you're referring to the classical movies.
Yeah.
I love the Night Stalker's first episode with vampires.
Do you?
Yeah, I love that one. I love Blade. I think it's really cool.
Nice. Okay. So you like the idea of a hybrid, a day walker?
Yeah, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I obviously Interview with a Vampire is great, and the older ones with Bela Lugosi, those are incredible. Those are incredible.
I always say I do a vampire panel, and whenever we start way back, and then we work up, and I say Bella is the moment where vampires became sexy.
Right.
That was the shift.
That was the shift right there.
He started that. So we have sexy vampires today because of Bella.
Right.
Yeah, totally.
I've never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I haven't seen one episode yet.
That's all right. So what is something you see in a vampire movie that just makes you groan? You're like, oh, I hate when they do that.
Interesting question. I don't like when they just exaggerate the situation. When it just gets a little exaggerated.
Yeah.
I don't like when vampires turn into bats.
Bat!
That's what I don't like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Have you watched What We Do in the Shadows?
No.
You have to watch it. So funny.
Yeah.
The bats are my favorite
So
part.
I know, but I just
Yeah.
don't like it. I don't like when the bats turn
I'll tell you what I hate. I hate when vampires can be in the sun and don't have fangs. So Twilight, Discovery of Witches, like all that
Right.
stuff. I'm like, then you're not a vampire. You're
Right.
something else.
I've never seen they don't have fangs in Twilight.
In Twilight, yeah.
Oh,
And they can be in the sun. They sparkle, but they can be in the sun.
Yeah.
And Discovery of Witches, same
Yeah.
thing. So they'll always be like, vampire stories they're exaggerated, they're not real. We can actually be in the sun. We actually don't have fangs. I'm like, then you're not a vampire.
Yeah, you gotta have fangs.
You're something else.
You have to have fangs.
Yes, thank you. You heard it from Ed. You have to have
You
fangs.
have to have fangs.
You can have 2 on each side. You can even have all fangs, but you gotta have fangs.
No, you have to have fangs, yeah.
Ah,
If the devil is so powerful, why did the Archangel Michael kick his ass? Yes, that question.
chills. I cannot thank you enough for doing this.
Wait, what did they put in the guns?
There would be silver bullets.
Oh, okay.
Werewolves.
No, and also vampires.
Ah.
Remember?
Yeah, those two really get they both use that.
Right, but it comes from the concept of Judas Iscariot portraying Jesus
Yeah,
with the
with
silver.
silver.
That's what they got.
Yeah, I know. Dracula 2000 did it.
Oh wait, Dracula was that the one when
With
he's
Gerard Butler. I know.
bad people?
And that's the other thing we talk about is a lot of times it's not the monsters that are the problem, it's the other humans.
Absolutely.
They're the ones you have to be the most worried about. So it's great when you come together to fight the common evil, but more often than not, it's the other humans that you have to worry about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because the monsters have to kind of follow rules, right? But
Right.
like other humans really don't. And then there was one bullet, and that was just in case you weren't going to make it out. You could just put yourself out of your misery. I always thought that was a cool touch.
Or don't put yourself out of misery. Let the vampire bite you and live forever.
That's what I'm
See?
saying.
I'm not
That's
going
what I'm
that way.
saying. I keep saying I wish the vampires would find me. I'm 44 now. Like, I'm kind of in my prime. I don't want to wait anymore. Like, let's do this. Is this
I want
seeds?
a really nice one.
Nice one.
Is this so that you can spill the seeds and distract them? They'll have to count them?
Mm-hmm.
See, I know stuff.
The vampires actually had to count every morsel of
Yep.
salt. And
That's an old
Yeah.
one. We don't see that one much anymore, but that's where the count came from once.
right, and that's where he plays, yeah. Yeah.
I know stuff.
You know stuff.
Useless stuff, but I know stuff.
So you can kill a vampire with a mallet?
Well, that'd be used actually to put the stakes in.
Oh.
Again, what if you have the stake but you forgot the mallet? Like,
Plus, it's for the familiars too, the people that
Sure.
protected the vampires.
It's just so big.
I don't know about you, but we talked about this in Nosferatu. Remember the stake was like a fence
Yeah.
post?
It was
Like, that is so big. I don't know about you, but I think I would prefer a real simple stake. Like, I don't want something ornate. I don't want it to be weird to hold. Like, just give me simple. You know what I mean? That is-
What, for the killing or to be killed? If I'm a vampire, I want the most beautiful
Yes.
giant steak ever.
Please. On the record, if you're going after Tony, make it pretty, please. And then
Yeah.
also stained glass window after.
And the single.
Got it. Okay. Look how big that is. That is huge. That's too much. Do you think the vampire hunters compared steak size? Like, mine's bigger. See, and like that one's too little.
Yeah.
Baby vampires.
That's dark. That's dark.
People were shorter back then.
Yeah.
They were smaller back then.
Shorter doesn't make for a more narrow chest.
You know, I was here a couple of months ago, the gentleman Poe from Ancient Aliens, and we were discussing the concept of maybe vampires were actually aliens from another time.
So I've heard this theory before.
I'm starting to
It's an
actually go towards
interesting
it.
one. It's very
I'm going
interesting.
towards this theory. I'm starting to.
I just think because of how long they've been around, but I also wonder if there's different vampire types as well.
Could
Like
be.
perhaps there's a vampiric species on each planet. You know what I mean?
Intense.
Yeah. 1880s. That's not even that long ago. If you think
I
about
know,
it.
right? Yeah.
That's really not that long ago.
Like we have a Civil War. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, I say this often too, because a lot of times people see some of these items and they say, especially during the early Republic, people were very barbaric with their weapons. We have atomic bombs.
Yeah.
You know.
You work with what you have.
Yeah.
Jay, look at this. This reminds me of something you might fashion like for the zombie apocalypse. Got a pitchfork on one side and like a sick looking scythe on the other. See, and this is dual. You can use it to repel vampires or also stake them. That is
Is that if like a bull got turned into a vampire?
Yeah, you know, that's a lot of times the vampire sleeping in the coffin, they would have two people use it.
that again feels like not a good plan.
No.
So you got one guy who has the key to the trunk, two guys for the mallet, one guy for the stake. You're in charge of signing off because I introduced you.
This is your okay. Well, that was a great time. I loved my time here at VAMPA. It's bigger and better than ever. Thanks once again for having me out here.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much. It's
Thank
very
you.
rare that I learned something about vampires that I didn't know. So it was very cool to learn today and add to my knowledge. It was very cool to see this, especially just us here. Like, what an incredible experience. I'm so, so thankful that you did this for us. I absolutely want to continue to work with you in the future.
We are going to.
We have
Yeah,
to
we're
do
going to do
something.
a lot of stuff.
You gotta come to Pittsburgh.
These guys are great. I love these guys.
Yeah, this is incredible. Thank you so, so, so much. This was amazing. Come to VAMPA. What are you doing?